Crimes of the Syrian regime against nature and the environment in the Eastern Ghouta and the Barada River. Ghouta of Damascus, once a symbol of lush greenery and natural beauty in Syria, has endured systematic destruction under the Syrian regime's rule. Using the pretexts of development and urban expansion, the regime initiated devastating projects that caused irreparable harm to both the environment and its people. These actions blatantly disregarded international laws and UNESCO standards for the preservation of cultural and natural heritage. 1. Uprooting millions of fruit trees along Damascus International Airport Highway. The construction of the Damascus International Airport Highway led to the removal of millions of fruit trees that were an integral part of Ghouta's landscape. These trees were not merely aesthetic, they were a vital source of income for thousands of families and acted as a natural barrier against desertification. This large-scale deforestation not only devastated the region's vegetation, but also led to a loss of biodiversity and disrupted the local climate balance. 2. Polluted wastewater and poisoning Ghouta's water supply. The wastewater management project in Damascus stands out as one of the most egregious environmental crimes. Instead of properly treating sewage, the regime redirected polluted wastewater and toxic industrial waste from tanning factories in Damascus to Eastern Ghouta. This contamination poisoned the soil and groundwater, decimating vast tracts of agricultural land. Fruit-bearing trees, once emblematic of Ghouta, withered away, leaving once fertile lands barren and lifeless. 3. Unplanned urban expansion and destruction of farmlands. With the growing military and security presence of the regime, significant areas of agricultural land in Ghouta were seized and turned into haphazard urban developments. This uncontrolled expansion destroyed the natural landscape and created environmental suffocation, as these areas lacked adequate infrastructure, worsening problems like sewage and pollution. 4. The drying of the Barada River and its pollution. The Barada River, a lifeline and iconic symbol of Damascus, suffered deliberate degradation. Instead of maintaining its natural flow, the regime diverted its waters for unjust irrigation projects, turning it into a polluted stream filled with industrial waste. This drying up of the river not only impacted the river itself, but also devastated the farmlands that depended on its water for irrigation. 5. Neglect of natural and cultural heritage. Ghouta and the Barada River, significant natural and historical landmarks, deserve protection under UNESCO standards. However, the regime entirely neglected these treasures. Instead, it prioritized self-serving projects at the expense of Syria's cultural and natural heritage. Consequences of these crimes: environmental degradation. The loss of fruit-bearing trees and fertile soil caused widespread environmental deterioration, contributing to desertification and local climate changes.